Working is not everything about who I am.
Studio. And I was in England then for like several months, and it was right in the middle of the first year, and you could like travel a little bit and stuff, and I drove to Italy by myself. I drove with a friend, and then I drove back by myself.
What was that drive like?
It was kind of like an open-ended trip.
Wow.
And I think the biggest thing was like any gap that I'd had to go on holiday or take a trip like that would be like, okay, well I have a week, so I'm not going to drive because I should just get there and have as much time there as possible. And I drove there with a friend. We got there and then he flew back a couple of days later, and I just stayed there for a couple of weeks by myself and just went so slowly and felt much more like present than I'd been in a really long time. And you know, I'd walk around and I'd get a coffee and I'd sit down and drink it instead of like I'll get it and I'll walk with it because I'm going somewhere else.
Yeah.
You know, I think like I just relaxed a lot and felt like no one knew where I was and felt like a human being and felt very small in a really nice way. And driving back, I was by myself for the whole drive back, and I love driving. Family thing, and I think maybe for, 12 years, family things have not always been able to be the priority in maybe the way that they should have been, or I would like them to be more of going forward. And, you miss so many birthdays and stuff like that, and then eventually like it's kind of just like assumed that you're unable to be at stuff. And I think that was kind of one of the things where I was like, I want to take a second to like invest some more time into like balancing my life out a little bit. Like this working is not everything about who I am, like it's something I do, and I don't want to be defined as a person necessarily by what I do all the time. I want to be able to kind of put that down. And for a really long time, I didn't really know who I was if I didn't do this. And that's really scary because you go like, okay, well, if this ends, am I going to be good at handling it? What am I going to feel like? I think like it just gave me an opportunity to kind of get comfortable with like who I am and kind of get to know that person a little bit more. I no longer feel like my overall happiness is dependent on whether a song goes here or goes here.
Which is
Open-ended. Feel present. Have not always been able to be the priority. Going forward. It's assumed that. Invest some more time into. Balance out. Handle. Get comfortable with. Is dependent on.